Hi, today I'm going to share my plant haul from the native sale yesterday. I'm Kate and I garden in Shawnee, Kansas in Zone 6B. Welcome to Blooms in the Yard. If you haven't seen my native video, you should. I talked about 12 of my favorite natives, and I grow natives that are beautiful, not dried out, bad looking ones. I think that all the benefits to pollinators and our environment is wonderful, but I'm like a picky gardener, so I like to choose the ones that are pretty. So if you're into that, then you should definitely check out that video. The main reason that I grow them is because I want plants that are going to be really hardy here and that I'm not going to have to water all the time and all this stuff. So let's get into it. This is the first one I bought. I bought 2 of these, and these are a blue cardinal flower. So these are blooming right now in my garden, and I planted them last year, that one last year for the first time, and it looks so good that I had to buy 2 more. And I think I'm gonna just spread these around the garden because they're blooming in September, and that they're like a bluish purple. So that's a great thing to have, is something that blooms in September. It says that these can take some light shade. I've got them on the west side of my vegetable garden, so pretty much sun, but they're kind of near the raspberries, so maybe getting shaded a little bit. And it's average to moist soil, so that probably what I was thinking is that they would get watered because I water my vegetable garden pretty often. So these have done amazing. Mine are about 24 inches tall. On this, it says 18 to 30 inches. Blue cardinal flower or blue lobelia. I got 2 Downy Skullcap, and all of these plants don't look like much right now. So these did just finish blooming in my garden. They bloom in August, 24 to 36 inches tall. Now, mine flopped, which was okay with me because it flopped over, and then I had stems and flowers all along that main stem. So I'm curious to see, like, it kind of flopped behind my boxwood and then it kind of bloomed all around the boxwood. So I'm curious to see, I will probably have to either plant it around things it can kind of flop on, or stake it, or just let it do what it did this year. It looked really pretty, but that's the Downy Skullcap. And it says it can take sun to 3/4 shade. Mine's done just fine in the sun. So 24 to 36 inches tall. This one definitely doesn't look like much right now. This is Indian pink. It says 24 inches tall. Now, I grew this once before and I had it in full sun and it looked really good. It bloomed and then it died. And then just recently I found out they're supposed to grow in the shade. So I was like, oh, I should try that again. So yeah, I'm trying it again. This is 24 inches tall. When I grew it last time, it was like 12 inches tall. So I don't know, but I'm going to try it in the shade. And average to moist soil, light shade to shade, 24 to 30 inches tall. And it blooms, red blooms in the spring. I'm trying this one again. This is the wild stonecrop or sedum ternatum. This will be my 3rd time on this. The first time I put it in the sun because it's a sedum, and then I was told, oh no, that goes in the shade. The second time did really well, bloomed, I was loving it, and then my oak leaf hydrangea just laid on it all year and it died. So we're going to give it a better spot where something won't be living on it. And I've got the perfect spot for it. I did ask, because again, I assumed it would want dry because it's a sedum. I asked and they said, no, it's actually going to want average to moist soil. So that's good to know. I have the perfect spot for it. I've been working on an area. This is a ground cover, so it's going to be 4 to 8 inches tall, and it blooms white in April. The blooms are really cool on this. I really like this plant. So I got 2 of those. So those are more of a woodland plant that you wouldn't expect from sedum. Because I liked that blue lobelia so much, I decided I would try another lobelia. This lobelia is going to bloom white, sun to light shade, average moist soil, height 18 to 24 inches. and it blooms. Oh, you know what it says? Blooms light blue. The picture looked white. We'll see what happens. And it says May through July. My blue lobelia is blooming right now in September. So we will see when this lighter lobelia blooms. And it is the spiked lobelia, Lobelia spicata. I got 3 of these because I love them. I already have 3, and I probably could have divided those, but it took a couple years to get them established, and they bloomed really beautifully, so I didn't want to kind of start those over again. This is the Showy Beardtongue, or I've seen it called purple. Definitely full sun, average to dry soil, and mine was about 2.5 or 3 feet tall. It blooms, mine bloomed in May with all of my other penstemon. I have foxglove beardtongue, and I have like the red-leaved penstemon. I have dark towers and red, husker red. So I have 3 of these. This was my #1 native in my garden this year. It was so pretty. I loved it so much, so I bought 3. Dry, well-drained soil, they just mean it's not going to want to get soaked or flooded. Okay, this is another new one for me. It is Pussytoes. Prairie Pussytoes. I bought this for a ground cover. The tag says it blooms white, so that I didn't even realize when I bought it that it was going to bloom. I just loved the look of it. So I saw it recently in a native garden, in like a master gardener demonstration garden around here. Soil it says dry, rocky. So I haven't decided where I'm going to put this yet, but definitely it can take some dry. Blooms April to June. I'm going to guess that it's going to bloom on the earlier end here because we get pretty warm early. And Tenaria neglecta. If that means what I think it means, I think I will like this plant. On here it says light part sun. So that's something for me to keep in mind. Matte colony forming. So where I saw it, it definitely was taking over a big area. I mean, this is not gonna take over any important plants, I wouldn't guess. But I was excited to try that one. Then my last plant is Dittany. So this was also in my native video. I'm wanting to try it in a place where it will get more sun. So it's in the oregano family. I have it in shade, in full shade, and it's doing okay. But I thought, let's see, on here it says, it says sun to medium shade, dry to average soil. This says 12 to 16 inches tall. The one I have in back is maybe 8 inches tall, maybe even shorter than that. So we will see what this one does if I put it in a little more sun. And then this one, it's blooming right now. So the tag says late fall. I'm gonna say September is when it would bloom here in Kansas City. So those are my natives that I just bought yesterday, and I am gonna get some of these in the ground today, hopefully. I have an area back in the shade where some of these are gonna go. I think I'm gonna put in the Indian pink in my shade area that I'm working on, and the sedum. I know that this area doesn't look like too much right now, but having a vision for the future, I have the 2 wild Stonecrop. This is the Indian pink. That is Solomon seal, which I had dug it up from an area where it wasn't doing well, and then it kind of got broke in the process bringing it over here. So if that doesn't work out, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to plant these 2 Downy Skullcap in here. So for those of you who are not familiar with my garden, this fence is the east side. So the sun comes up, they're kind of shaded in the morning, and then this area gets sun, probably from 11 to 3. Okay, then in the afternoon, this tree shades. This is my big oak tree. So it gets midday strong sun, but it's not getting more than 6 hours of sun. That would be my guess. So the Downy Skullcap says it can take some shade. I have it growing in the front. It has quite a bit of sun, but it is shaded out a little bit by other plants, or at least its roots are. So I'm going to try this here. I don't love this variegated sage with the kaleidoscope Lobelia, so I've been meaning to remove that at some point. And then, so I think I'm going to remove the sage, put the Downy Skullcap in here. And if it does what it did in front, which was flopped, it can totally like flop here and like bloom, or flop back there, or, it can do whatever it wants in here. Then I think I'll put another one in here. This is behind the tough stuff I recently moved over here. So I wouldn't mind having something right there. And obviously these coleus are annuals. Seem to all be not attached to each other. I'm in my sun border, and I'm planting these 2 blue Lobelia. They're ready to get out of this pot for sure. I don't even know what this is. I think it's bee balm. This is my spiked Lobelia. Dug out a peony. I moved some tall lilies over here. So here are those 2 blue cardinal flower. One there, one there. These other little things in here are 4 o'clocks, which just reseed, so easy to manage. This area is a little raised up, so we'll see. They tend to want water. They're okay in a rain garden, but to me, if it does okay in a rain garden, that means that it is okay to dry out as well. It can kind of take both. So we'll see if that's true in this area. This is just here in my sun border. And then over here is where I planted the white cardinal flower. Not white. The package said pale. The picture looked white. So this is spiked Lobelia. And this is a lower spot, so I would be more confident that it would do well in this area. I went ahead and dug up that sage that was here, right here. I mentioned it in my herb video and how tough it is. And of course, the minute I talk about something in a video, then it dies on me. But I will plant that again. I'll buy a new one. I went ahead and planted these two Dittany in this spot. Here you can see I've got grape hyacinths that will bloom in the spring. And then I will have this Dittany to bloom in September. This is where I planted the Pussytoes. This is kind of a tricky area because it's right next to the driveway. So honestly, I run over these plants sometimes. And it also, when I run the sprinkler, this edge doesn't always get water. So the Pussytoes can take dry. I'm hoping it can just fill in this whole space and time. And I was just kind of curious to try it. If I like it, I can spread it other places around the garden. I do have some perennials growing in there. So I was a little tempted to remove these because they don't look that great, these annuals. I'm kind of going back and forth on that. I went ahead and removed some of the things. I removed a basil and a zinnia and a coleus. I knew that was going to happen, but once I start removing things, I kind of go crazy. I went ahead and removed all the zinnias from this area because they were pretty faded and they weren't getting better. And it just, to me, looks so much more rich to just have the reds. And we're getting into fall, so reds are okay right now. We're pretty covered. So if those grow in a little bit for the fall, that'd be pretty nice. I did have those kind of faded looking zinnias all throughout here, and now I think it's looking better. Sorry, I know this video is getting a little off track right this second, but with going back to the Pussytoes, the other problem is that this mulch washes into the driveway a lot. So getting a good ground cover here is going to be really helpful. So I ended up planting my 3 showy penstemon or penstemon cobiea in my mailbox garden. There's one right now. These are all surrounded by annuals. There's another one in there. And then the third one is in here. So not much to see right now, but there's a lot of annuals in here. And so next year I'll have those perennials. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Definitely try natives. They can be really great in your landscape for low maintenance. And I feel like people that like ornamentals kind of stay away from natives because they think that they're not pretty. And I feel like we need to do a better job showcasing how good they can look. So that is one of my goals in my garden is I like to point out the natives to people when they're going through so they can see, oh, those don't look too bad.